course of each game?
Well, I think for Josh, but also too for anybody that's had the ball in their hands, the decision making, and that's always critical. But obviously, Josh is taking care of the football, and that's where it always starts. He touches the ball in every play, so that's where it starts.
Obviously, funny things can happen early in the season, but with that Alabama performance against Ole Miss, what changed for them after that? I'm sure you've watched all the film of their defense. What's been different the past month?
You know what? They haven't given up the deep balls since then. They had a couple of deep balls given up in that game, and they haven't given those up since then. And, they had that one play that got tipped about 35 times before it was caught and advanced down the field. But I would say that, just not giving up the long balls anymore.
What makes them better at that? I mean, why are they not giving up the long balls? What are they doing differently?
I'm sure they've worked at coaching it and leverage and keeping a cushion on the defenders or on the offensive guys. So I'm sure that they just went back to coaching it and stressing it more, I guess.
Mike, on the offensive line, how have Chance and Jack kind of responded to some meaningful playing time against a pretty big opponent? Do you see rotating them in? I guess how do you kind of measure how much they play moving forward?
Well, it's going to depend on where we are health-wise. It always depends on that. When we get closer to game time, who will play and who will be in the rotation and all that, and then who will be first guy in, second guy in, things like that. So that's always determined usually on Friday before the game. We talk about it as a staff. But, to answer your question about both of them, I think they gained a lot of confidence, playing in a big game like that. And they had some good plays. And they had some plays just like everybody has where you'd like to have them back, But I think they've learned from it.
With that, Alvin facing his former teammates, what's his approach been like in practice so far this week?
Hasn't said a word about it, he's Alvin. He's a leader for us. Works hard in practice, everything. I mean, he hadn't said a word about it. At least to me or, around the coaches and stuff.
Obviously, it's been half a season. You've been able to work with him now. What's he meant for y'all's offense? Just to be able to have that kind of change of pace back, and her not having to really carry the load too.
Well, I mean, this is a tough league, and for anybody to take a pounding as a running back, play after play, and I'm not just talking about running the ball, I'm talking about pass protection, things like that, it's tough. And Alvin has obviously come in and given us great depth at that position, great production. I mean, he's been able to run the ball and catch the ball, pass pro, all that. So, he's your all-around running back. He can do everything, and so it's been a big plus for us.
Mike, as stingy as that Alabama defense is, how important is patience in this game? Just sticking to what you do.
Yeah, I think that's very important. I think that we're going to have to be patient, and we faced very good defenses this season, and we tried to be patient with those. So, we'll have a similar approach in this ball game as well.
Are they as good a defense as y'all face, just in terms of being able to force takeaways, and just in terms of their aggressiveness and taking the ball away from them?
I think they're probably better. They just, again, I can't stress enough how athletic they are in the linebacker spots in the secondary, how well they run and get people to the ball. So, again, when you get people to the ball, things can happen for the defense, and that's what we're working against.
Mike, how have you seen Josh Malone sort of grow and develop over the course of this season?
Yeah, had an inconsistent spring. Obviously wasn't here